Good morning, students. Today we will study the fourth part in direct and indirect speech, that is exclamatory sentences. Exclamatory sentences also have their own different way of changing from direct to indirect. First, see what are those rules to be followed while changing exclamatory sentences into indirect speech. The reporting verb said to changes to exclaimed to. Now here this is the only type of sentence where you can write exclaimed to. In assertive sentences our said to changed to told. In interrogatives it changed from said to asked or inquired, and in exclamatory it is changing from said to exclaimed to. So this is the only place where that to you can use in your answer when you replace the reporting verb. Now depending on the context of the sentence, we have to use the moods like exclaimed angrily, exclaimed joyfully, exclaimed sorrowfully, exclaimed sadly, exclaimed admiringly, exclaimed appreciatingly, etc, etc. There are so many moods which we can use, but normally these will be the ones which we will normally be using while changing into indirect, especially in exclamatory sentences. Now you will use exclaimed to only in these type of sentences. Words like hooray, alas, wow, bravo, they will be present in exclamatory sentences of your direct speech, and we are not supposed to use them in indirect speech. This you have to remember, because these are all the moods which are depicted. Normally it is for joy, for sorrow, for surprise, etc, etc. These all words which are the moods which they represent. Now in the next slide we will see how we change exclamatory sentences into indirect speech. Let us see how these sentences change. The first sentence, Samir said to Chintan, hooray, I won the match. So here, Samir said to. This said to will change to exclaimed to. Samir exclaimed to Chintan. That way. Now we have hooray. Hooray denotes joy. I won the match. Hooray, you say. So hooray denotes joy. That means Samir exclaimed joyfully, you can write, or with joy also you can write that. Afterwards the rules remain the same. I won the match. That is past tense. So we will give the answer in past perfect tense. So let us see. Samir exclaimed joyfully to Chintan that he had won the match. Once again we have to use that to join the reporting verb with the reported speech. And I won the match has changed to he had won the match. So this is how you write. Once again I repeat. Samir exclaimed joyfully to Chintan. This is how you will write that he had won the match. Sentence being in past tense, our answer changes into its past perfect tense. Mona said to Hiren, alas, we lost a great leader. Alas denotes sadness. So Mona exclaimed sorrowfully or sadly to Hiren. This is how we will write. And then we lost a great leader. That is in again past tense, so it changes to its past perfect tense. Normally in exclamatory sentences you will find sentences in their past form. Normally, not most of the time, but generally we find them in their past form. So our answer normally will be in past perfect tense. So Mona exclaimed sorrowfully to Hiren that We changing to they. Lost changing to had lost. They had lost a great leader. Jayesh said to Parita, wow, what a beautiful garden it is. Normally, this is how we get our sentences in exclamatory. What a beautiful flower it is. How beautiful the sunset looks. Like that. So, here it is. See, now we have a sentence with what? An exclamation mark also has gone at the end. But when you have such mood words, hooray, alas, bravo, they take exclamatory mark with them only. But when you have a sentence starting with what or how, your exclamatory will be at the end of the sentence. Now, normally, wow is used for surprise. So, Jayesh exclaimed surprisingly to Parita. This is how you will change. Now, wow, we are not supposed to use, but this thing, what a beautiful garden it is. Our answer will start with it. This you have to remember. So, after exclaimed surprisingly to Parita that it was a beautiful garden, Jayesh exclaimed surprisingly to Parita that it was a beautiful garden. Harsha said to Manish, how nicely you have decorated this house. See, I had told that normally our exclamatory sentences start with what and how. Here we have a sentence with how. How nicely you have decorated this house. So, Harsha exclaimed admiringly to Manish that. Now our answer starts with pronoun you. You changes to he because it is used for Manish, the listener. Harsha exclaimed admiringly to Manish that he had decorated that house nicely. One more sentence we see. Sanjay said to Pankti, how stupidly you behaved in the party last night. Now, how stupidly you behaved in the party means Sanjay has got angry on Pankti. That is why he speaks so. That means Sanjay exclaimed angrily to Pankti that. Again, this also will start with you. Our answer you is for Pankti. So, she behaved changes to had behaved stupidly in the party. The last night changes to the previous night. Sanjay exclaimed angrily to Pankti that she had behaved stupidly in the party the previous night. This is how it changes. So these are the moods normally which we write. For hooray we normally use joyfully, for alas sorrowfully, wow is used for surprisingly. And how nicely you have decorated this house means somebody is admiring you and accordingly making the statement. And how stupidly you behave, that is an anger. More sentences we see of exclamatory sentences changing from direct speech to indirect. Ankita said to Disha, what a tragic accident. Accident normally denotes sorrow. So Ankita exclaimed with pity. You can even use pity to Disha that. Now here what a tragic accident, only that much it is, and I have started the answer with it was. If it is or it was is not present in the sentence, you start your answer with it was. Ankit exclaimed with pity to Disha that it was a tragic accident. Because it is not present, then you might think, sir, how come you put it was? Normally, this is the rule. You will start with it was. Mukesh said to Suhani, how hardworking you are. Mukesh said to Suhani. Mukesh exclaimed. Now you have to think what word will come over there. He is appreciating the hard work which she is doing. So Mukesh exclaimed appreciatingly to Suhani that she was very hardworking. Krunal said to Gemini, what a mess you have done in this room. What a mess you have done means Krunal is angrily telling you the room is in disorder. Normally, how you keep your rooms at home to keep a room neat and clean, but we normally don't do it. thinking mummy will do everything, but once in a while mummy gets angry, so accordingly she says. Same thing Krunal is telling to Jamini angrily. So Krunal exclaimed angrily to Jamini, said that she had done a big mess in that room. Lena said to Raj, "How kind of you to give me a lift." Lena said to Raj, "How kind of you." So this is feeling thankful, or you can write grateful, whatever. Lena exclaimed gratefully to Raj that it was so kind of him to give her a lift. See, I have put it was over here. Compulsorily, you have to use it. How kind of you to give me a lift. It is part of the sentence which is not written over there, but you have to write it. Janice said to Sima, "Bravo, you got the first prize." So Janice exclaimed joyfully to Sima that she had got the first prize. And the last sentence, Kaushik said to Neelam, "Oh, how ill I feel." Now, here Kaushik is not happy because he is sick. So, accordingly, the mood will come. Kaushik exclaimed painfully to Neelam. Sorrowfully, also, you can write, sadly, also, you can write that he felt very ill, seriously ill. That way, you will write this sentence. So, Kaushik exclaimed painfully to Neelam that he felt seriously ill. Now, these are the sentences of exclamatory which we will learn. We have learned, and now homework sentences. So, these sentences you will write down in your fair note which you have prepared. And since the government is now seriously thinking of starting the schools, so this is how it is. You be ready with your work when the school reopens in your fair book.